Good morning. My name is Judd Bortz, and I use he, him pronouns. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Berks County. As Unitarian Universalists, we come together not with a list of required beliefs, but with a set of shared values centered on an unconditional, unshakable love. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are at this moment in the sanctuary or online, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome in this community. As we are gathering, I want to extend a special welcome to anyone visiting with us this morning. Please take a moment to fill out one of the green connection cards in the pews and drop it off in the offering basket this morning. Those joining online, please take a minute to write your name in the chat box and let us know where you are joining us from this morning. You'll find the UU Berks Church web address in the chat box and a link to today's order of service. You can sign up on the web page for our weekly e-newsletter. The connection cards can also be used to request calls and visits from Reverend John, to update your personal information, and to connect with the lay leadership of the church. Please drop those cards in the offering basket. Pastoral requests will be forwarded confidentially to the minister. For new families and our youngest members, there are a few options for being present in worship this morning. There is our new children's space at the front of the sanctuary where Miss Erin is keeping an eye on things. Or you may sit in the pews with your parents. There's also quiet nursery space just to the left of the sanctuary through that door and across the hallway. Audio of the service is available there. Now, let's take a moment to greet each other with a wave or namaste or smile. And as you do, please wave back towards the cameras and greet our online participants. Hola.
Good morning. I'm Casey Quinto, and I use she, her pronouns. I've been attending UU Berks for about the past 8 months or so, and I carry the Chalice Flame in from the AWCS Climate Group. I moved to Berks County about 6 years ago, but I only started attending this past summer. Each weekend for 5 years, I found an excuse not to walk through these doors because I was resisting a gravitational pull, since in the COVID era and its aftermath, I was keeping myself rigid and buttoned up and closed off, mistakenly thinking that staring straight ahead week after week would make my days easier. And I knew that when I came here, the kindness, beauty, and wisdom I'd encounter would burst open that cocoon I'd been building. And that's just what happened. Recently, Nadine referenced this poem that captured it perfectly. It says, "What if becoming who we truly are happens not through striving, but by recognizing and receiving the people and places that offer us the warmth and encouragement we need to unfold." And I'm endlessly grateful to unfold with each of you every week here. Our chalice reading this morning is by Bob Janis. This is the time for you to light your chalice if you have one at home, while ours is lit in the sanctuary. Here within these walls, here in this community of love and justice, we pause in our busy lives to consider what is worthy of our deepest yearnings. In the time we are given here, may we pay attention to wonder of each moment, may we grieve what is lost, and may we be grateful for our life on this beautiful earth, and may we prepare ourselves for the work love calls us to do. Just as we are, may we be the beloved community. Please rise and embody your spirit and join in our opening hymn, number 298, Wake Now My Senses.
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Fear the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving, as love shows us how. Wake now my reason, reach out for the new. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor, both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now, my conscience, with justice thy guide. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged place. God's love embraces the whole human race. Wake now, my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Work toward a planet transformed by our care. Once, two friends were walking down the sidewalk on a busy city street during rush hour. Hey, have you ever taken a walk with some friends? Yeah? right? And you know how we all kind of notice different things? Well, this is a story about that. There was... Oh yeah? Okay. All right. Yeah, sometimes we want to go one way, and sometimes we want to go another way. Hi. All right. Sometimes we don't want to go either way. Can you imagine a city street? Lots of noise. Can we all make that city street together? So some cars have to honk, beep, beep, and some people walking down the road. And what else happens do we hear in a city? We hear some talking, so we're talking back and forth, hi, da-da-da-da-da-da, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, right? And feet shuffling, people talking, and amid all this noise, it's a lot of noise, right? One of the friends turned to the other and said, sound. I hear a cricket. And the other friend goes, no way. How could you possibly hear a cricket with all of this noise? You must be imagining it. Besides, I've never seen a cricket in the city. No, really, I do hear a cricket. I do, I'll show you. And she stopped for a moment and then led her friend across the street to a big potted, like one of those planters, right? Yeah, she led her there. And she said, I'll show you. And then pushing back some of the leaves, she found a little brown cricket. What does a cricket sound like? Oh, that's a good one. Wait, hold on.
Now I got pressure.
This little tiny sound, that's amazing, she said. Her friend said, you must have superhuman hearing. What's your secret? Hi. And the other friend said, no, my hearing is just the same as yours. There's no secret. And the first friend replied, watch, I'll show you. She reached into her pocket and pulled out some loose change and threw it on the sidewalk. And amid all of that noise of that city, everyone within 30 feet turned their head to see where the sound of the money was coming from. See, she said, it's all a matter of what you are listening for. This is number 391 in your gray hymnal. Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In dawn and rain, sorrow and pain, still you remain, singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing.
Let us open our minds and our hearts to the spirit of this community. Take this moment to call to mind all who are in need of our kindness, caring, and love. Consider if there is someone in your life, even if that someone is yourself, who needs our thoughts and our support, who needs someone to laugh with and to celebrate with this week. we take this time to honor those souls. Those of you online may share your joys and sorrows in the chat box, and you here in the sanctuary are welcome to come up and place stones in our common bowl in sympathy or celebration or solidarity. Let us sing together now, Spirit of Life, first in Spanish, then in English.
Fuente de amor, ven hacia mí y al corazón cántale tu compasión. Sopla a volar, sube al mar, hasta mondear la justicia de la vida. Arráigame, libérame, fuente de amor, ven a mí, ven a mí. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice.
Please join with me in some time of meditation. Close your eyes. Take one deep cleansing breath in and hold on to it for a moment and let it out. Feel yourself grounded where you are, your feet firmly on the floor. Hold your index finger up in the air. And then touch it to your wrist. Feel your pulse underneath your finger. Become aware of yourself touching your own wrist. Observe yourself in this moment. What is your body telling you? What is your breath telling you? And now notice your wrist being touched. Become aware of yourself both as someone observing and being observed, of seeing and being seen. Notice your breath in and out. Listen to its sound if you can. And now listen to the sounds of the breathing around you. Feel yourself breathing together with the people in this room. Imagine your pulse is their pulse. Imagine as we breathe together, our hearts beating together. Breathing in, no, you are not alone. Breathing out, let your spirit connect to these other spirits. Breathing in, know you are loved without cost, without demand. Breathing out, know that you are the channel for that love. Breathe in and breathe out. And let us take together this moment in silence. I found my new favorite joke this week. It goes something like this. I forget the name of the stand-up already who said it, but I started meditating this week. Sort of. I started leaving my phone in the other room while I watched television. And I hear the laughter of recognition because that's exactly where I was the minute I read that. And the irony was even stronger because I found that joke while I was scrolling through my socials on my iPad with the television on. It's not funny, haha, sometimes. But you felt that, right? You recognize that, right? Even if it's not a constant thing for you. Our attention seems so scattered and spread these days. There's so much information flying at us from so many directions. And it's all we can do just to manage and cope the stream as we're drinking from the fire hose, as the saying goes. And sometimes we choose to do that for ourselves. Maybe it's to soothe something within us, forget something. Maybe it's to get some sense of control over our world. Maybe we're just looking for solutions to the problems. J.W. Bertolotti is an American philosopher and writes about this similar feeling. I pick up my phone to check one thing, the weather, a text, the time. A few minutes later, I am somewhere else entirely, reading something I didn't intentionally choose, feeling something I didn't ask for, carrying a faint agitation into the next task. Nothing dramatic happened, but something important did. My attention got spent in tiny, almost invisible ways, like loose change disappearing one coin at a time. A lot of this is by design. It's not just because we have short attention spans, not because we're just tracking the next shiny thing after the next shiny thing. We're living in a time now where the powers that be want us to be overwhelmed by the information, want us to be knocked over by the fire hose of data. And in our society, we live to be advertised at, let's be honest. People are making money off of our attention and where it is going as we scroll through our daily lives. It's the new attention economy. Some friends from the Friends of Attention Collective in a New York Times op-ed a few years ago wrote this: "We are witnessing the dark side of our new technological lives, whose extractive profit models amount to the systematic fracking of human beings, pumping vast quantities of high-pressure media content into our faces to force up a spume of the vaporous and intimate stuff called attention, which now trades on the open market. Increasingly powerful systems seek to ensure that our attention is never truly ours. The moment has come for a new and parallel revolution against the dishonest expropriation of value from you and me, and most visibly of all, our children. We need a new kind of resistance, equal to the little satanic mills that live in our pockets. This is going to require attention to attention, and dedicated spaces to learn or relearn the powers of this precious faculty." Or as Bertolotti continues, William James, the American philosopher and psychologist, helps explain why this feels so costly. He teaches us that distraction isn't only a productivity problem, It's a formation problem. Your life isn't only what happens to you, it's what you let in. It's what you linger on. What we give our attention to, what we spend our attention on, and doesn't that give the phrase to pay attention a little bit of a different slant? What we pay attention to shapes us day by day as individuals, as a whole community. A revolution in attention is required. So where do we begin? Where does the shift in our attention start? It starts with my morning cup of coffee. This is an exercise I take all of my beginning improv students through. Everything crosses over. Pay attention to one thing you do every day that you take for granted, that you do on automatic pilot. Drink your morning cup of coffee, brush your teeth, open a door, situate yourself in your car. This is my favorite mug. It's got a very specific weight and a heft to it that I can feel. If it was full of coffee, it would have a different weight and heft to it. It's hand thrown in clay. It's got smooth upper and lower rings, but this lovely rough-hewn pattern around the center. And when I put my fingers through it, 3 that I can fit in the handle, I can feel it against my knuckles. And on my pinky underneath, I can feel the ridge of the handle that's been pulled. And feel the groove that's been put there just for my thumb to hold on. And notice the weight as I lift it up to my lips. And how does my lip touch the rim? And how does my mouth open when I sip? And how much of a sip do I let in? And is it too hot or is it just right? And what does the weight feel like as I put it back down on the side table next to my chair as I'm scrolling through The Guardian in the morning? Or it starts with touching your wrist, feeling yourself as someone who is seen and being seen and seeing, feeling your pulse. It takes that level of intentionality with something that small just to kickstart the shift in our attention. I figured that out at the height of the pandemic when, as the phrase went, the brain fog was real. When I realized I was just walking through my day without realizing what was going on and forgetting what I intended to do from moment to moment. Going to make a little pick-me-up cup of coffee in the afternoon and walking through the living room and turning to Jess and asking if she wanted a cup of tea at the same time. And then 20 seconds later, I had completed my journey to the kitchen. And then I was just staring out the window at the front lawn, forgetting what it was I had gone there to do in the first place. I realized I needed to start narrating my own life to myself in real time so that I could keep that memory going. And sometimes it was like talking to a toddler. But it kept attention focused. And so that's my morning meditation now, to notice something new in minute detail that I take for granted every day. Try to turn off the doom-scrolling brain. And when I get into that practice, well, it becomes practice. My attention becomes a bit of a ritual in the morning. And when that becomes ritual, everything I do, every step of every day, becomes significant, is imbued with some meaning, because I'm mindful of what I'm doing, and I'm reminded in that ritual process that what I do, moment to moment, matters. That what I attend to matters. So the question then becomes, what is worthy of that gift? What is worthy of the gift of my attention, limited commodity that it is? Am I going to pay attention to the coins or to the cricket? What is worthy of that gift? I cannot answer that question for you this morning. But I can point you in a direction with a little bit of a caveat, and it is this. If purposeful attention, if paying attention on purpose to something can become ritual, then it is also true that the things we choose to pay attention to run the risk of being deified. Not that we turn our morning cup of coffee into a god, but that what we are giving our attention to takes on a position of being what is of ultimate concern to us overall. We are choosing what is of ultimate concern. But John, you just spent 5 minutes narrating the sip from a cup of coffee. Is coffee your God? No. The ritual is a tool, and the sip of coffee is a small part of something larger. It is the first step in diving into my joy for the day. And joy is one of my ultimate concerns. It is the thing that fuels me to do the work that I do, the thing that fuels me to get up in the morning and continue to face the horrors of the world. That is something worthy of attention to. So I pay attention to that first sip of coffee. If I'm paying attention to asking my wife and then making my wife that cup of tea, it's not about the tea, it's about attending to the relationship, and that is something of ultimate concern, how I stay connected to the people around me. So then what about the deluge? What about the fire hose? Empire wants us to be distracted by the deluge. They want us playing outrage whack-a-mole with every new thing that comes up. And I'm not saying don't pay attention to that. I'm saying don't let our attention become divided by the various flavors of outrage. But if one of our areas of ultimate concern, if one of the things that we choose to pay attention to is our sense of justice in the world, if we are spending that attention, then we can start to see the root causes of injustice more clearly, and not just the fruits of that tree. Attention to the root of injustice is a form of resistance. Our shared values as Unitarian Universalists give us a pretty good starting shopping list of perhaps where our ultimate concern might go. Justice, equity, pluralism, interdependence, our eye on the web of all creation and the ways we are connected to everything. And so I pay attention at the coffee cup level detail to what lies underneath the surface of the outrage. Turn back to the coffee cup level of detail so we do not sink into despair. Each day begins with a choice of how we are going to budget that precious, limited commodity of our attention. Because that's energy, friends. And it's on us to spend it wisely. And when the options seem too much, too shallow, too intense, touch your wrist, friends. Relish that first sip of coffee. Notice how you are spending your time. And answer for yourself every day, what is worthy of this gift that I have to give? How will I let my attention shape me today? I'm inviting Jean Kakuza up as our weaver for this morning. And I apologize in advance because our little weaving needle has gone missing, so this will be an interesting experiment. As we strengthen the ties that bind us into a beloved community through our values and our vision and the work of covenanting together, we add a new thread into our tapestry, a visible reminder of what we are called to build together and the beauty of unique souls bound together in the web of all that is. If I can get that to go. May we be reminded this day
one-liners. Comedian named Mitch Hedrum. This is one of my favorites. I used to do drugs. I still do, but I used to, too. That wasn't part of my reflection, but... We are all going home, all of us. And home is exactly as solid and exactly as warm as the best moments we have ever felt in our lives. These words come from a man named Thomas Briggs, who drowned in the Scioto River in Ohio, died, and then was revived. I'll say them again now that you know the context. We are going home, all of us. And home is exactly as solid and exactly as warm as the best moments we have ever felt in our lives. Mary Neal, an orthopedic surgeon from Wyoming, went over a waterfall in southern Chile in 1999 and was pinned under the water for more than 9 minutes. She said that while she was drowning, she remained completely lucid and completely calm. She then heard a pop sound as she lifted out of her body. She was greeted by several beings, some who she knew and others she didn't, and they were all incredibly happy to see her. She was happier and filled with more joy than any moment in her life. In fact, she didn't miss her life one bit. When she was told that she had to go back into her body, she became very sad. Another woman said of her near-death experience, "I cannot begin to tell you how immensely comforting it was that every single thing about me had made this transition with me as I left my body. What did I leave behind? Guilt and every other negative emotion. My body and my personality were not who I really was, and who I really was continued on after dying." Many described ascending into a vast darkness, which was welcoming and nurturing as it enveloped them in a blanket of peace and calm. There was nothing to fear, only immeasurable tranquility and happiness, a combination of expansive awareness and stillness at the same time. You might ask, why am I talking about near-death experiences this morning? Hope has been the focus of this month, and I thought of near-death experiences because when I'm really feeling dreadful, depressed, and bewildered, I remember that many people who have literally died and come back. It brings me hope to hear that after going through that ordeal, they aren't the least bit afraid of dying. Because no matter how bleak my perspective might be, when I measure it against the possibility that what comes after death, a kind of coming home, is a real paradigm shifter. Many, but not all, talk of going through a life review, which they all experience in their own unique way. But what seemed to be universal was that there was no experience of being judged during their life review. There was only complete acceptance. They realized that from their soul's perspective, every single thing they did in their life mattered. Every accomplishment was significant. As they watched their entire life play out in an instant from birth to their present age, they realized that the most significant moments were ones of loving connection. They said that every encounter mattered, from what would be considered the most important to what might be overlooked. Like walking by a stranger in a hallway, it all mattered. Words, energy, actions were all significant. And no, Reverend John and I did not compare notes coming into this morning. In summary, my biggest takeaway from studying NDEs is that fear is not always rational, even the fear of death. When the veil is pulled back and we get a glimpse of what comes after death, the most singularly feared moment of our life, it is absolutely trustable and beautiful and a sort of homecoming. The feeling of coming home is something we all crave. That which appears hopeless, the idea that we are all going to die, isn't hopeless in the least. It's actually the exact opposite of hopeless, and that gives me hope. Thank you.
Good morning, friends. If you're seeing my face, that means it's that time again. It is Share the Plate Sunday. I'm here to introduce our recipient and their representative. This month, we are giving to the Greater Reading Immigration Project, which provides scholarships to Dreamers and undocumented students going into college. So without further ado, Myrna Fuchs from GRIP will tell us how the money that we raise on their behalf can help them fulfill their mission.
Good morning. Last March, I introduced you to Greater Reading Immigration Project. For those who don't know what it is or weren't here, GRIP is a coalition of volunteers. We're not a 501k or whatever it is. When we raise money, we do it through Berks County Community Foundation. It's just a group of serious volunteers, and we meet monthly. What we do is we try to make the community aware of immigration issues, and we try to educate, communicate, and advocate. We've been very active with the immigration firm Aldea, which is a nonprofit, and we've helped them gather information for their clinics and volunteered at their clinics this year. And seeing all the people come with their families, frightened, really hurts. We do focus heavily on our scholarship that provides funds for undocumented students that they couldn't get or enough of. They can't get anything from the federal or state government. Thank you for sponsoring the 2025 Run Walk for Dreamers. We did have you on the t-shirt on a banner. And last year's race raised $11,500. And thanks to race sponsors and fundraising efforts, GRIP awarded $19,000 worth of scholarships to 19 students. 13 students did not reapply, but some for very good reason. Some of them graduated. They graduated college, or they will be graduating this spring. Some, I was told they would earlier. I call everybody when the scholarships are due and said, don't forget to apply again, because I'm nuts. But I love these kids. And some of them have said to me, but I don't need it next year. I'm graduating. And then again, I couldn't go back and sometimes confirm some. One young lady who was a freshman last year, or was supposed to, I went through Migrant and found out she didn't go at all because we got $1,000 back, and I wanted to know why. And the Migrant counselor told me it was because she is self-deporting to Venezuela with her family. Another one, I don't know why. I know her family struggles, and I've talked to some of her teachers, and when I talked to her, she said, I'm doing fine at RAC. I said, great. Don't forget to apply for the scholarship. You need help, call me. But it didn't happen. So that happens also. There are 14 applicants this year. They're all being reviewed through the Berks County Community Foundation's committees. But I do step in and say, okay, even if they put somebody on the top that I say shouldn't be on the top, let's move the other person up. We try to give everybody something. That's my goal. If you applied and you made the effort, you should get something. And my goal is to get at least $1,000 to each of the students. Sometimes I think that some students who are higher level, maybe we should give more to them because they could go to other schools that they were dreaming about. This is something the committee has to consider. We also did a very close person on the committee with me, always is my conscience. And she says, Myrna, do you really think we're doing any good for these kids? And she said, what happens to them? And she said, I have two sons who are professors, and they're saying so many kids come unprepared to college and drop out. So I spent a few days, maybe a week or so. I went back to our first scholars in 2013 and traced those people to 223, because by this time they should be graduates. And what I found, thank goodness, was 64% of those students have graduated at least 2 years, if not 4 years, of college. The national average is about 61%. GRIP, in our current political environment, many immigrant families live in constant fear. I have become aware of some of our recipients, the GRIP recipients, planning or considering to self-deport. It was through my phone calls, aren't you reapplying? But this young lady is graduating this year from a local college. And she told me, no, my family and I are self-reporting this year. The family decision was made because since 2025, there has been constant stream of breaking news, executive actions, polarizing rhetoric, and in addition, now the possible opening of a detention center right in their home county. My family and I are living in chronic uncertainty, fear of detention, family separation, and profiling. We are losing an intelligent young lady who studied psychology and could help counsel other people in our community. I'm going to read, I asked some of my students who were even considering self-deporting or how their family are doing. Legal Voters wanted me to do a show, and I said, let me get some essays and permission anonymously. And this comes from the young lady I just talked about. I've grown up in Berks County. In elementary school, I took pieces. In elementary school, I was taught about the American dream and believed it. And I still believe in the ideals. But ideals and lived realities are not always aligned. No dream is worth sacrificing our mental and physical well-being. More important, no dream is worth risking the safety of my family. Phrase used by undocumented communities, and I'm going to murder it in Spanish, I'm telling you right now. Ni de aquí, ni de allá. Neither from here or there. I am returning to a country that I only know through stories. Yet despite the uncertainty, we are choosing dignity over fear. Thank you again for inviting me.
You may make your contributions through the online app or in the baskets as they come by you here in the sanctuary. The offering will now be accepted. May what you give bring you joy and into deeper relationship with your community.
Hello, everyone. I'm Randy Newnham, and I'm speaking for Terry Bridgewater today, who was going to be doing our stewardship moment, and she asked me to share this with you all. Sorry I'm not here with you in person today, but I'm sure you'll be happy that I'm not sharing my cold with you. I'm with you in spirit and via Zoom. So, hi, Terry. I signed the book and officially became a member of First UU almost 11 years ago, and I'll be honest, since that time my engagement and involvement with the church has ebbed and flowed for a variety of reasons. But events over the last several years have shown me over and over again how important First UU and this congregation are in my life. First UU offers me connection to true friends, support during personal struggles and troubled times that we're all currently living in, opportunities to learn and grow through workshops, seminars, sermons, discussions during coffee hour, tangible ways to make a difference, like raising money for causes like the Crop Walk and GRIP today, helping with the service auction to support the church programs, showing up to protest the craziness that's happening in this country. I'm so very grateful to have this space and this congregation. As you probably know, we're in pledge drive mode here at First UU. I don't have much money to give, but every pledge counts. Our pledges are important because they help the church plan and build a budget. Please join me in supporting First UU by turning in your pledge today. You can drop the pledge form in the box in the Gerber room or speak to any of our members of the stewardship committee that are here today. I know Jim and I are here, probably Nadine also, others you can talk to. Thanks very much, and I also wanted to add a little note, which is to remind people that we have a lovely brunch coming after the service today to celebrate the near completion of our pledge drive, and invite everybody, of course, to join us in the Gerber room after the service for that. Thank you.
Just a few quick announcements before we depart. First, yes, you can smell the pancakes. They are happening. Please join us after the service for brunch. We had a small but mighty contingency join me for the very first Takeout Thursday this past Thursday. We had a great old time. This Thursday, first Thursday a month, is going to be afternoon tea with the minister, so 2 p.m. here in the Gerber room. If you've got the afternoon free, come and join me for tea or a coffee or whatever you like to drink in the afternoon, and we can pay attention to our cups together as we do that. The church auction is coming up on April 11th, and that's all I'm going to tell you because Dan Hawk is going to tell you the rest of it.
This quick. So Saturday, April 11th, that's not this coming Saturday, but the next Saturday is the annual service auction. It's a wonderful time. As Mike told us last week, it's not just an auction, it is a party. Everyone can come, enjoy food, enjoy drinks, enjoy company. What makes it special for me, and I think for Corinne, I don't like to speak for you, but I think we're on the same page with this, is it really does make us feel welcome and make us feel part of this community. I remember the first one that we attended, I don't even know if we bid on anything, maybe just a few small things, but that was the first time that I truly felt really kind of brought into the fold, making deeper connections with people during that social hour and sharing that auction experience. This year, I just wanted to call out the rock concert that I put together. We are going to put that on again, so that is something that you can look forward to. That will just be a fixed price item, so it won't, it should be affordable to anyone. And we have a few other things like the Rocky Horror thing that was also a big hit, and I hear that Mike Mannix may be putting together a karaoke party in the same vein. Mark your calendars, Saturday, April 11th. There also will be childcare available for those with little ones, so you can come enjoy the time with everyone There is a link in the Univoice as well as the back of your order of service. Yes, Quinn. I'm sorry, the time, 5 o'clock to 7:30, 8:30, I'm not sure. Depends how quickly Nick and I can get through the auction. Shouldn't be too late though. So yeah, there's a link in the Univoice order of service. There might even be a slide, I'm not sure, with a QR code. Yeah, join us. It's a great time. Thank you.
And now won't you rise in body, rise in spirit, rise however you rise best to join in singing our closing hymn, Will Be Known by Our Love. And as we're stretching and noticing our bodies once more, I do want to make one last plug for Easter Sunday. It's next week already, and we have an Easter egg hunt for our littles and our littles at heart after the service that day. Okay, that's it. You're excited for that. When the winds around you blow, take my hand. When the raging waters flow, I'll help you to stand. And we'll go together into that great unknown, shelter for each other, compassion as a home, and we'll be known by our love. We'll be known by our love. When you're fearful, when you're blue, don't despair. When the world gives up on you, I'll still be there. And we'll go together into the great unknown, shelter for each other, compassion as a home, and we'll be known by our love. Oh, we'll be known by our love. Yes, we'll be known by our love. We'll be known by our love.
Friends, may life bless us and keep us. May the light of life shine upon us and out from within us and be gracious to us and bring us peace. For this is the day. This is the one wild and precious life we have all been given. So let us all find a way to rejoice and be glad in it. Go in peace.